Hi y'all, my name is Bengalcatz, my pronouns are she, her, and I'm a Twitch streamer who enjoys building in The Sims, does a little gameplay, and also is starting to dabble into Disney Dreamlight Valley. Today, in this video, I am building Tiana's palace from the movie The Princess and the Frog. I am currently working on an entire Disney save file in The Sims, and a lot of that does involve building, and now some of it is up to imagination. I do also have a build of the homes that Tiana grew up in, and there's a home for everyone who I have in the Princess and the Frog save file. I'm hoping to start posting more videos from that save file. I'm just taking my time and building when I feel inspired rather than building just because I feel like I need to continue the save file. So these will be pretty intermittent. Now I'm working on the exterior first. Now Tiana's palace is only very briefly in the movie itself. Check out this picture that I have over in the right hand corner. That kind of gives you an idea of what it looks like on the outside from the movie. I'm not going based off of the parks because in the parks, Tiana's palace all kind of looks a little different and is up for a little bit more interpretation, and I just found it a bit more important to go based off of the movie when I'm doing all of this. The fact that this building is not symmetrical kind of breaks my heart, I'm not gonna lie, because I need symmetry in my life. So a lot of this build really ends up to the imagination, and you kind of just have to go based off of what you think Tiana would have designed it as, or what you would have wanted Tiana to design it as, because we don't have that ability to just know and see. It's not where a majority of the movie takes place. It's about her journey to get there. Now I do have to apologize. In this video I did lose a section of my recording when I was building, so unfortunately you missed me fighting over some interior furniture, which honestly is probably just a good thing for everyone. And this is where imagination starts to come into play. Again, we only have that front picture. We don't have a lot to go off of, but you can imagine that, you know, if the exterior of the building is red and Tiana's main colors are green and yellow, then we're probably going to be sticking with that and have a lot of gold accents, use white as a support, and really warm light browns, and it all actually ends up working out pretty well. I think so far out of all of my builds that I've done for Disney, this has been my favorite. I think it's the one that's turned out the best. Rapunzel's Tower was a little bit tricky because Rapunzel's Tower is tricky in general just to be a playable lot, and let alone building on it is impossible because you're jumping up and down so much. I would be interested if I went back and edited it with the new Enchanted by Nature fairy pack. I think that would actually probably enhance it for the better a lot. Once I get the basics down of the exterior, I do head inside. Oh, there we go. And this is where the up for the imagination goes for. I did a lot of fighting with figuring out these columns. I really struggle with columns. I think I've mentioned this in a previous video. Columns always rub me the wrong way because they make gameplay so hard, and if you're planning on gameplaying like I am in this, then it's near impossible to do it well, because you don't want the columns and the connecting part up at the top that I always forget the name of. You don't want that to be in the way of your gameplay. It's the same thing with the big chandelier lights. If you gameplay a lot, it just makes it almost impossible. I really utilized Cozy Bistro, Wedding Stories. I think those tables with the green curtains, I think those are actually base game, but Wedding Stories, I believe, is that piano that you see there, or that might be Romantic. No, that wouldn't be Romantic Garden, because that wouldn't make sense. You can tell I still don't know my catalog as well as some of my friends do. They know what everything is from, like the back of their hand. I used some of this extra space up here for bathrooms. It's hard to tell based off of the interior picture where everything goes, and I mean, it's a movie. You don't have to have bathrooms somewhere. They don't necessarily go to the bathroom. And even in cartoon movies, especially, the layout of the buildings don't have to make sense because it's not real life. So in reality, this is a lot of seating for a Sims restaurant, but you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. This is functional as a restaurant. I believe I have it uploaded as a restaurant. If anyone would like it uploaded differently so it's a bit easier to find, you totally can. On any video that I post on here, I have on my gallery. My gallery also has extra things like Rapunzel's Tower, and that can be found at Bengalcatz 525 on the Sims Gallery. I believe I built this one off stream, but I do build on stream quite a bit. My Twitch schedule is Sunday mornings at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and that is when I stream my Not So Very Legacy Challenge. My Tuesday nights at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time is normally for Sims building, and Thursday nights is kind of an up in the air if I want to do a gameplay of some sort, if I want to Disney Dreamlight Valley, if I want to build in The Sims, if I want to do something entirely different. That's kind of what Thursday is for. At the end of the week, in the work week, it's kind of a do what you can situation. Now, as I said, I really focused on yellow and green accents and gold, making things feel luxurious, but also modest, because Tiana grew up very modest. She grew up making gumbo with her dad in their small little house and lived in that house almost her entire life. In my Disney save file, I kept Tiana in those style of houses. I made 4 in a row, and one is for her parents, because in my Disney save file, her parents are both alive, not just her mom. There's one for Tiana and the prince. There's one for her blonde friend, whose name I just can't remember, but I always called her Barbie growing up. And there's one for her Bayou friends, who are actually a crocodile and the firefly. You can tell I don't know this movie super well because I don't know their names. But to be fair, I normally don't know people's names, so I don't think that's technically an insult. Now I head back to the exterior and I start vamping it up. I've really forced myself to do basic exterior before I move into the interior, because it just helps me start to get a gauge of what this family is going to be like. These lights were the most tedious things in the world. They were driving me up an absolute wall because I was not doing them correctly. I had started placing them, thinking them were all good, and then turns out they kind of looked like they were floating, and I think I just reached a point where I didn't care. I was having to overlap them in spots. Yeah, these were definitely super tricky. At this point now, I'm just zhuzhing up the sidewalk a bit. I'm just adding things. Tiana would want things to be totally accessible to everyone, so in a bit I start adding in newspapers, and I think I put a little bench in. This I fought for like 20 minutes and continually changed how it looked because I just wasn't happy. I think I ended up putting in a pre-made plant. I figured Tiana would probably want some outdoor seating if it's a nice night or a hot night. AC wasn't exactly a thing. I think Tiana's movie takes place in the early 1900s, like 1910s. So there probably wasn't much AC going on inside. So if it was hot, they would probably want to sit outside. Now, one of the reasons why I went with Tiana and deciding to do a Disney save file in general is because the reason why I wanted to make a Disney save file in general is because I am a full-blown Disney adult. So I actually recently just got back from a trip to Tokyo, Japan, and we went to Tokyo Disney Resort, which was super, super fun. If you look on my Twitch, which is Bengalcatz, from my stream on July 10th, my VOD should be up there. The first half I spent talking, not the first half, probably about the first hour of my stream, I spent, chatting with my chat about my time in Tokyo, Japan. We were there for about 12 days. We've done quite a bit of travel, but we're going to be taking time off from now on. Now, this room, I spent the whole time not knowing what to do with it, only to realize that if this was going to be a functional restaurant, I was going to have to make it into a kitchen, which honestly ended up being a really good thing. I would have preferred a long, thin kitchen. I think that probably would have suited a bit better. But then I kind of realized that, Tiana's not just schmoozing everyone out there and dancing with everyone and having fun, but she's probably also making a lot of the stuff. She makes her food with love, and the kitchen being square probably makes a bit more sense because it matches the personality of the owner a bit better. This little garden area is just meant to be an area for employees to go relax when they have time off. Let them get outside if they want to get outside. Maybe they're trying some food that Tiana made for the first time. And I'm still sticking with the green and yellow. One thing that frustrates me is that I really don't like that clear gate that goes with the businesses and hobbies fence. I just don't think that they look right together. It's one issue I have with Sims. I find that constantly there are columns that don't have matching banisters. There are, not banisters, the little connector at the top that replaces the walls. You find stairs that don't have matching railings. You find fences that don't have matching gates. And it just makes me wonder, because there's nothing really that matches it exactly, and especially if you want a matching color, it becomes that much harder. Plants cutting into walls are the bane of my existence. This is where things got a little tricky just because of needing to have two doors. The window being right there, the curtain ended up being a little weird. And of course I used the I think it's the newest kit, the kitchen clutter one that has all of the fun baking stuff. This is where my love for clutter really became in handy. At this point I was feeling kind of burnt out from the build. I was absolutely in love with it, but it took so much focus because I was trying to make a copy of something that we didn't have specifics from. I was a little burnt out, I was a little tired, but I think I took about like a week or two off from the build before going back in and really trying to clutter everything up, because these counters don't technically get used in a restaurant. They're kind of just extra. So I could kind of, clutter them and decorate them as I wanted because they weren't necessary in the same way they are in a residential. Alrighty everyone, so that is Tiana's Palace. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, feel free to hit subscribe, and I'll hopefully see you on Twitch sometime. Thanks y'all, bye!